I'm Will Carroll from Baseball Prospectus. I'm often asked, what's the difference between an ace and a merely good pitcher? Pitching mechanics are one of the most important and frequently misunderstood facets of baseball. Let's break down some of the key elements of the delivery that allow some pitchers to truly excel. As we take a look at the elements of what makes up good mechanics, you'll notice that pitchers don't look similar, but they all have similar elements. There are 4 elements of pitching that have to be a part of any good delivery. That's drive, direction, control, and consistency. All these pitchers do things a little bit different. They don't give you the same look from pitcher to pitcher, but inside their delivery, all these guys will match up with those big 4 elements. Let's take a look here at drive. What I mean by drive is bringing as much energy as possible into the ball. Roger Clemens is a great example of this. Watch his big legs driving forward, moving the ball, making sure that he gets that 90-mile-an-hour plus behind it. Chien-Ming Wang is another guy who can bring mid-90s heat. Why? Because he's bringing it all to the plate, straightforward, moving through. Roy Oswalt may not have the perfect pitcher's body at 5'11", but what he does is use every bit of energy he has to bring the ball forward. As we see him here, canted shoulders, everything driving through towards the plate. It's a great delivery and one of the reasons why Roy Oswalt has been one of the top pitchers in the National League for years. Now, beyond drive, you have to put it in the right direction, and that's all towards home plate. Kenny Rogers and Kevin Millwood are 2 guys that bring everything forward. It's almost as if they're pitching in a tunnel. What I mean by that is that there's not a lot of left-right movement that's not necessary. These lines should help you understand that. Look at how controlled he is with everything down the middle, everything moving directly towards the plate. That's great direction on Kevin Millwood's part. Here's CC Sabathia, a guy who has a lot of extra weight to bring forward, and he puts that into his pitches. You see him again, a great stride, moving forward, everything towards the plate. Jeremy Bonderman had a great breakout season. Why? Because he was able to control himself. His direction, some of the best in the major leagues. One of the biggest elements of pitching is control. You have to be able to not only repeat the delivery, but control your body all the way through. Now, some might call this balance, but in such a dynamic activity, you have to be able to control yourself while you're moving. I think control is the right word, not balance. Eric Bedard of the Orioles has really thrived under the tutelage of Leo Mazzoni because Mazzoni preaches control. Don't go out there and throw too hard. Don't go out there and get beyond yourself. Stay under control all the way through the delivery. Now, Dontrelle Willis has a ton of extra motions, but if you can get beyond that high leg kick, his mechanics and Greg Maddux are actually very similar. You see him controlling himself all the way through, and that's the result. Here we watch Greg Maddux, the absolute master of mechanics, perhaps the best we've ever seen. So little effort to get such great results, all because he keeps himself under perfect control. Consistency is another element that we have to look at. A guy like Ben Sheets, over and over and over, you see the same repeatable delivery. That's what's allowed him to get past some of his shoulder problems. That's what's made him one of the elite pitchers. That consistency is something you like to see out of pitchers. Johan Santana is another guy who's consistent, whether it's his 90-mile-an-hour fastball or his slider that you see side by side. It's nearly the same delivery. Tempo's a little bit different, but hey, if you can pick that up in milliseconds, you can be a major league hitter too. Watch as Santana brings it through, driving through. That great pronation, you can see his thumb turning down on release. That protects his elbow, one of the reasons he's been able to stay relatively healthy over his career. Just great mechanics, consistency, consistency, consistency. Every time he's on the mound, he's going to be making the same moves. But there's no one more consistent than Trevor Hoffman. We'll bring in a line here to help you look at this, because the correct position is for the elbow to be slightly higher than the line between the shoulders. Anything below, and you're putting a little more stress on your shoulder. Anything too high, you're putting a little stress on your elbow. But over and over, you're going to see Trevor Hoffman bring the pitch through in that same arm slot, the same delivery. That's what makes him so tough to pick up. That's what makes Trevor Hoffman one of the all-time greats.